Good evening, everyone. After reading the articles that were assigned this week, I have decided to argue that there's a very unique connection between rights, religion, and identity. And there are lots of events and things that have to happen before this unique connection can actually take place. And the specific connection that I want to talk about is that your identity and your religion can be tied together, but events have to happen before this actual tying can occur. After and only after your religion and your identity are hand in hand is when your rights can start to be affected, if that makes sense. And so, how I will argue this is in the Reinhard article, he talks about how there were precursors to confessionalism. So, things that had to happen before the main religion was put upon the people. He mentioned things like plagues and wars, and oftentimes it was hardships that had to occur, and people were turning more to their religion. When you turn to your religion after hardships, you're relying on it, and it really becomes a part of who you are. But those hard things have to happen before your religion becomes strong enough to actually be part of your identity. And the reason why you have to have these hardships that occur before these two things can become connected is because, of course, you can have religion without hardships happening to you, but it's not tied to your identity as much as if you do experience these hardships. So that's where I get to the uniqueness of the connection. It really has to be almost like a perfect storm to create where you are so enveloped in your religion that it becomes integral to your identity. And where rights come into this, I'll tie this into the Harrington and Smith article, and especially when they're talking about social discipline, where people are living in societies or moving to societies or forced migrations to societies where you're giving up some of your rights because you're living under the rule of someone who is one of these new confessional religions. And this is, again, a unique connection because I would argue that you're almost voluntarily giving up these rights because you are identifying with that religion. And Smith and Harrington brought up about how people were giving up some of their rights by living under these strict rules from these religious/political leaders. But the people who were giving up these rights were living in a more peaceful civilization than the ones who were fighting it. So in the end, the giving up of all these rights is for peace. But before you'd be willing to do that, you have to have that unique connection that I originally talked about.